Good evening, everyone. We are going to call the Deltona City Commission meeting for April 5th, 2021 to order. May we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Vila Vasquez.
Present.
Commissioner King.
Here.
Commissioner McCool. Here. Commissioner Ramos.
Present.
Commissioner Sosa.
He's excused.
Vice Mayor Bradford.
Here.
Mayor Hersberg.
Here. Okay, this evening, we will go ahead and turn the meeting over to the Honorable Commissioner McCool for the invocation, pledge, and announcing who's singing the national anthem.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. There's so much paperwork here, I'm so sorry. This evening, we would like to welcome for the invocation, we will have Pastor Carolyn Shine of Greater Faith will do the invocation, to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner King will lead, and then we'll have our two lovely singers, Jeanette Lee Rosado and Netley Rosado. They are both students at Pine Ridge High. So if we can, Pastor Shine, if you could come up.
First of all, I'd like to say greetings to Mayor Hersberg, Vice Mayor Bradford, Commissioner Vasquez, King, McCool, Ramos, Sosa, Acting City Manager Peterson. Let us pray. O merciful Father, Creator of all things, the Lord our God, we are here one more time. We are alive to see each other's faces and to transact the business of this community. We welcome your Holy Spirit into the chambers of this building and this city so that they truly will be beacons on a hill, giving light to all that surrounds it. Lord, we pray for the spirit of truth, justice, knowledge, integrity, growth, and love to envelop this city as it meets its daily challenges. We pray for our U.S. President and staff, our state governor and staff, and certainly for the leadership of this city. We pray that they will employ godly wisdom and demonstrate righteous judgment. We pray for the staff holding positions of decision-making to have the skill sets not only to look at the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law. Lord, you gave humans dominion over this earth, so show and teach us how to protect our air, water, and land, so that we and our generations that follow behind us can still enjoy it. Amen. As we continue through this pandemic experience, continue to bring the healing that is needed. We pray to you, Father, and we thank you for those first responders and medical professionals who have navigated us thus far, and the unsung heroes who work tirelessly behind the scene for all of us. We pray for our youth, our faith community, and the citizens of this city, that their voices would be heard with compassion and understanding, so that we can all enjoy the prosperity and good health that you, O Lord, have prepared for us. Grant us your favor, that in all we do, we would do the right thing, those things that are pleasing in your sight. You are our strength and our Redeemer. We offer this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light
That was amazing. Thank you. Okay, next up, we don't have any minutes for approval this evening, so we'll go on to item 5, and that is the Superstar Student of the Month certificate, and we have a video for that. Great job, staff. Thank you. And let's have a round of applause for all of our superstars for this month. Okay, next up on the agenda is going to be a proclamation for Water Conservation Month. This was requested by Abby Johnson from the St. Johns River Water Management District. Ms. Johnson this evening sends her regrets. She's not able to attend, but I will go ahead and read the proclamation. And to begin, it is, whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and whereas the state of Florida, water management districts, and the city of Deltona are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas the city of Deltona and the state of Florida has designated April, typically a dry month when water demands are most acute, Florida's Water Conservation Month to educate citizens about how they can help save Florida's precious water resources. And whereas the city of Deltona has always encouraged and supported water conservation through various educational programs and special events, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make a difference when it comes to conserving water, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can help by saving water and thus promote a healthy economy and community. And now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Commission of Deltona, do hereby recognize the month of April 2021 as Water Conservation Month. The City of Deltona is calling upon each resident, visitor, and business to help protect our precious resource by practicing water-saving measures and becoming more aware of the need to save water. Executed this 5th day of April 2021. And next on the agenda is the proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month. And Commissioner McCool, you're up for that.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. The proclamation reads, whereas Florida's future depends on nurturing the healthy development of our children, and whereas the abuse and neglect of children can cause severe, costly, and lifelong problems, and whereas every child has a right to a safe, healthy, and happy childhood where they are educationally and developmentally on track, And whereas research shows that parents and caregivers who have support systems and know how to seek help in times of trouble are more resilient and better able to provide safe environments and nurturing experiences for their children. And whereas individuals, businesses, schools, and faith-based and community organizations must make children a top priority and take action to support the physical, social, emotional, and educational development and competency of all children. And whereas the blue and silver pinwheel stands as a symbol of the health and happiness all children deserve, and whereas during the month of April for Prevent Child Abuse Florida, in collaboration with the Governor's Office of Adoption and Child Protection, that the Florida Department of Children and Family and the Ounce of Prevention Fund of Florida will implement Pinwheels for Prevention, a statewide campaign promoting awareness of healthy child development, positive parenting practices, and the types of concrete support families need within their communities. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and Commission of the City of Deltona, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2021 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and urge all Floridians to engage in activities whose purpose is to strengthen families and communities to provide the optimal environment for healthy child development, executed this 5th day of April 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And now we'll move on to item D, which is a presentation of quarterly reports of the city advisory boards. These are all in written format. The Economic Development Advisory Board, Planning and Zoning Board, Team Volusia, and the William S. Harvey Deltona Scholarship Board. They can be found either in the agenda or online on our website. So we'll move to the next item, ordinances and public hearings, and we have none on the agenda tonight. We also have no old business, so that brings us to new business this evening. And just to announce, ladies and gentlemen, fellow commissioners, we'll be doing a voice vote this evening. We have Commissioner Vasquez zooming in, so we will go ahead and be doing a voice vote, and the clerk will be calling that for every item from here on out. And also, Commissioner Vasquez, if you, by any chance, if we don't see you, please acknowledge verbally if you have something to say and would like to speak or make a motion. Make sure we know, and don't hesitate to go ahead and say so, okay?
Thank you, Mayor. I also, on this topic, if with your permission, I would like to submit a name.
Okay, so item on 8A?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, so item 8A under new business is a request for consideration of appointment of 5 members for the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. And in our packets, we have a list of names that have been submitted, and I believe, Joyce, that Terry Ellis also submitted. And yes, Commissioner, go ahead, and did you have someone that wanted to submit?
I do, Madam Mayor. I move to confirm Manny Diaz, appoint to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee with his term to expire on October 5th, 2021. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of grievance, errors, and the like.
Okay, and that was who, Manny?
Manny Diaz? Was it Manny or Manuel Diaz?
Manny Rodriguez?
I'm sorry, Manny Rodriguez.
Okay,
Thank
perfect.
you, Commissioner Ramos. Yes.
Okay, so you are making a motion for one of the appointees to be Mr. Manny Rodriguez.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a second for that? I'll second that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so what we're going to go ahead and do is go ahead and,
Madam
yes,
Mayor?
yes,
Quick question. Are we going to do them individually or are we
Yes.
going to do? Okay.
yes. I think it's, that's been our latest, what we've done the last several, like last year and this year, is to do each one of these boards individually. That way, if someone feels they would not want to vote for an individual, you don't have to vote for the whole slate. So there's a motion and a second on the floor for Manny Rodriguez. And I also have Vice Mayor Bradford. Did you want to say something on this, or do you want to wait for the next one? Okay, so may we vote, please, for Mr. Manny Rodriguez?
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. Could you clarify how many positions?
Yes, ma'am.
5, okay.
Mr. Paradise, if you would come forth, we've had this discussion
I'm sorry.
before. There are 11 positions total, correct?
Ron Paradise, Planning Development Services. For the record, yes, according to state law, an AHAC can function with no less than 8 members and no more than 11 members. And that 11 members does include the commissioner representation on the board, who happens to be Commissioner Avila Vasquez.
Okay, did anyone else have a question for Mr. Paradise?
Yes, ma'am, madam.
Yes.
Ron, how many open positions are currently?
5, if you want to go with all 11. We have 6 filled right now.
Okay, so then, Ron, if only 2 positions were filled, then we're still good.
Yes, yeah, we can still move forward.
Okay, so, let me see. Vice Mayor, you're waiting, right? Or did
Yeah,
you-
no, I do have a question. Manny Rodriguez, he was on the P and Z, correct?
He was an alternate member on the planning.
He was the
and zoning.
alternate. Okay,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you. I thought so, okay.
And also, before we move on with that, let's clarify, Mr. Paradise, I spoke with Joyce earlier, and Mike Pekowski is on this board, and he's also on P&Z. It was decided multiple years ago that this is the one board that people can serve on this board and another city board.
That is correct. It's kind
Okay,
of
let's just to clarify that,
Yes,
okay?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have a motion for Mr. Rodriguez and a second. May we vote, please?
Commissioner Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner King? Yes. Commissioner McCool? Yes. Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Hersberg?
Yes, so Mr. Rodriguez, 6-0, he is going to be 1. Vice Mayor, were you up next?
Turn the mic on, it'd help. I said, I move to confirm the appointment of Cassie Landron to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee with a term to expire on October 5th, 2021. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections on Scrivener errors and the like.
Okay, so that is a motion for Ms. Cassie Landron. Is there a second for that? I will second that, unless you want to. Okay. So we have a motion and a second for Cassie Landron. Any comments from the commission? Then may we vote, please?
Commissioner Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Hersberg?
Yes, so Cassie Landron is also. Now we have Commissioner Ramos.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to appoint Sylvia Hayes. I move to confirm the, I make a motion to move to confirm the appointment of Sylvia Hayes to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee with a term to expire on October the 5th, 2021. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of Scrivener errors and of the like.
Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, seconded by the Vice Mayor. May we vote on Sylvia Hayes, please?
Commissioner Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Hersberg?
Yes. Okay, Sylvia Hayes. And let me see who else. Commissioner McCool, you are next.
I move to confirm the appointment of Terry Ellis to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee with a term to expire on October 5th, 2021.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Vice Mayor seconded that for Terry Ellis. Okay, may we vote, please?
Commissioner Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Hersberg?
Yes. Okay, now that we have 4, now we need 1 more. And Mr. Paradise, we have, if no one else is on the board to make another recommendation, Mr. William, and I apologize, can't,
Astonia?
Ostosic?
A stoic.
Stoic. His background, does it fit into one of these categories that we are required to fill?
It does. He would fit under the discipline of representing labor engaged in the home building industry.
Okay, and then we also have Ms. Dolores Guzman. Does she also fit in one of those?
Yeah, her discipline would be
the one citizen who represents essential services personnel like medical staff and so forth.
Okay, so we have one more to fill, sir, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
yes,
so
ma'am.
it is going to be between Mr. Ostasic and Ms. Guzman. Do we have a motion for either one of those? And if no one wants to make that motion?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Yes, ma'am.
I move to conform. I'm sorry?
Were you on the board before?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay, let's just, who did you want to, Maritza?
I was going to appoint Dolores Guzman.
And who were you going to appoint?
Same.
Okay, both of you agree, so whoever would like to make the motion, and the other one can second it.
Go ahead, Honorable Madam Commissioner.
Uh-oh, muted.
I'm sorry. I move to confirm the appointment of Dolores Guzman to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee with a term to expire on October 5th, 2021. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections or scrivener's errors and the like.
Second.
Okay, properly moved by Commissioner Avila Vasquez and seconded by Commissioner McCool for Dolores Guzman. May we vote, please?
Commissioner Avila Vasquez,
Yes.
Commissioner King, Commissioner McCool,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford,
Yes.
Mayor Hersberg.
Yes. Okay, so, Mr. Paradise, we are good with those 5, okay? Now, let's go ahead and move to the next item on the agenda, which is item B, notification of that FDEP consent order OGC number 20-1509 for the Deltona Lakes Water Reclamation Facility, along with proposed response activities. Mr. Danskin.
Good evening, Steve Danskin, Acting Public Works Director. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, although I wish that the topic of conversation was a little more pleasant. This fall, we were contacted by DEP, and we were in communication with the Department of Environmental Protection about a sanitary sewer overflow that occurred at lift station number 1 on Whitewood Drive. Following torrential heavy rains, the lift station became overwhelmed, even though we had auxiliary pumps attached to it, and the nearby manhole overflowed, and we ended up with raw sewage in Lake Gleason. Additionally, at the same time, we were working with the DEP on a permit renewal for the Fisher wastewater treatment plant, and looking through the records, they found 2 exceedances on a groundwater monitoring well for high nitrogen levels. So the DEP has responded with this consent order with a couple of conditions. One is that we institute an I&I study, an infiltration and inflow study into the wastewater treatment system. And another is to make modifications to the Fisher wastewater treatment plant to reduce the likelihood and discharge of nitrogen into the groundwater. We are making progress on addressing those. We are currently engaging USSI to complete a system-wide I&I study for the wastewater collection system. We're also engaging with our consultant for modifications to the Fisher wastewater treatment plant, realigning it, installing some filters, and taking the wastewater pond offline so that there's no direct groundwater infiltration. And then additionally, as we move forward with our budget, we are planning on allocating $1 million a year to the R&R of the wastewater collection system to reduce the amount of inflow and infiltration into the system.
Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioners, we know about this. We know when this happened. Do you have any questions?
Madam Mayor, I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this something similar to or not at all to what has been happening in Manatee County?
I'm not familiar with what's been going on. Oh, you mean
The phosphorus.
The the pond that...
Piney Lake?
No, this is not related in any way to that. That's an industrial pond that, with a dam that's threatening to fail. We have nothing like that going on.
Thank you.
Commissioner McCool?
I have a couple of questions. Can you just tell me, and this is just from my understanding, when we went over the limit, how far over the limit were we? What was the reading? I know it was supposed to be at 10.0, but what was the limit that we went over?
We were about 16 parts per million, so
Okay.
as opposed to 10.
Okay. And did we talk, I'm sorry, I had to step out for a moment, I'm sorry. Did we talk about what the cost was for the facility, the RIB that serves as a holding point? What is the cost and the cost for mitigation and to rebuild, or did we talk about that?
Not yet. We've just received a proposal from our consultant to engage in some design, some process changes at the Fisher plant and some increased filtration.
Okay. So that will help us when it talks about and the effective date of the order lasting through January 2023, talking about our levels. How are we reaching these goals? Is it like all filtration, or what are we doing?
The plant currently, it's a little hard to explain how the process is working exactly, but by realigning the way the tanks are set up and changing some piping, we believe we can get some more nitrogen reduction in the process. And then our existing sand filters are past the end of their useful life, and so we'll be able to add those on at the end and add a disc filter like we're using up at the RIB site, which has proven very effective. And they're actually astonishingly inexpensive.
And I missed, are we paying the fine or electing the P2 project?
We're electing to do the P2 project. We're going to install a couple of variable frequency drives at a couple of our lift stations, which will reduce the amount of energy required to pump the wastewater.
Okay, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. There are no other questions from commissioners. Do we have anyone that filled up for the public forum?
Albert Bryan, please.
Albert Bryan, Deltona. You know, it's amazing what comes back to haunt people. It really is amazing. We told previous commissions that we need to spend more money on infrastructure. $500,000 a year. What's that, a half mile that you're fixing a year? And now you're going to propose $1 million a year. Oh, that's a mile. So 45 years later, oh, you'll have to start this process all over again, and by then it'll cost you $2 million to $5 million per mile. But, you know, that's okay. We got really pretty parks for people to play in. Can't get to those parks very easily because the roads are running down really bad. Okay, I get it. Fuck the infrastructure, and we'll just take and make beautiful parks. Oh, and don't forget, we're going to make more beautiful homes to stress these systems out a little more. Oh, that's right, we got a brand new system for that. So, I like your proposal that you had to shut this system down. It's old, it's inadequate. Go ahead, shut it down. Push everything over to the other one as soon as you can. It makes sense, it really does. This is a good example of why it makes sense. Why it makes sense to put money into infrastructure rather than put $10 million to $5 million per year into parks. I mean, everybody likes beautiful parks. I get it, I do, I really do. But what good is it when you got sewer coming out of your manholes? Is that really going to help your parks? No, it doesn't. Focus on things that need to be done. Focus on the infrastructure, because if you don't, it's going to get worse before it gets any better.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, that closes public comments for AB.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, commissioners, we need a, yes, Vice Mayor.
I move to enter into consent agenda OGC number 20-1509 with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, FDEP, and proceed with the remediation and compliance activities outlined above. The
Second. Sorry, thought you were done.
Carry on.
The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of Scrivener errors and the like.
Second.
Properly moved by Vice Mayor Bradford, seconded by Commissioner Ramos. If there are no other questions, may we vote, please?
Commissioner Villa Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner King? Yes. Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Hersberg?
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Move on to item C, request for approval of resolution number 2021-18, a budget amendment number 2021-031 and 2021-032 for the general fund for fiscal year 2020-2021. And this is because of the increase in responsibilities of citizen inquiries and additional workload in the HR department, reclassified the part-time administrative assistant in the city commission department and human resource clerk position in the human resource department to full-time positions. The budgeted funds will be adjusted to cover the cost of the salaries and the benefits for the part-time to full-time employees. Do we have any questions, commissioners? No questions? Anyone send for public comment? Okay, hang on 1 second, Vice Mayor. Is there anyone for public comment? No.
No, Mayor.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public comment portion. And Vice Mayor?
Was this position being covered at all, Mr. Peters, under any of the SHIP? Was any of this from excess overload due to the extra work with COVID, or is this something else?
Yes, ma'am. The position in HR has to do with the COVID work, but as we come out of COVID, as you all are aware, we are implementing evaluations, and the paperwork that's going to be involved with the evaluations, we're going to need the additional work output in order to deal with those new evaluations.
Are we still going to be able to use the SHIP funding in the, for a while, or until it's, are we allowed to use SHIP funding until when? Is it May or the end of the year?
You mean the
for the
COVID
position,
funds?
since it's being used for COVID?
CARES Act funding?
Yeah, or CARES Act, yeah, because I was thinking that as long as the positions are being utilized to assist with that, or is that only if it's temporary?
Good evening, Camille Hooper, Finance Department. If you want to use that from the CARES Act, it just has to be directly related to the COVID pandemic. So if you're adding staff for that, yes, we can use those funds for that.
So basically, if they're saying, like you're saying, the funds are the individuals right now currently helping due to COVID, and then once we're through the COVID pandemic, then it would come out of city budget? Is that what we're planning on doing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, any other questions? If not, we need a motion and a second.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, ma'am?
I move to approve resolution number 2021-18, budget amendment number 2021-031 and 2021-032 for the general fund for FY 2020-21 to appropriate the funds for the salaries and benefits. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of Scrivener's errors and alike.
Second.
Okay, properly moved by Commissioner Avila Vasquez and seconded by Vice Mayor Bradford. May we vote, please?
Commissioner Villa Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner King? Yes. Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Hersberg?
Yes, motion passes 6-0. And now we'll move to item D, the public hearing for resolution number 2021-19, the request to vacate 2,471 square feet of public right-of-way area dedicated as part of the Davis Park 3rd Edition Plat MB 18, PG 17. Mr. Paradise.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ron Paradise, Plan Development Services. Resolution 2021-19 is a request to vacate 2,471 square feet of public right-of-way associated with the Howland Boulevard corridor. The property in question is located within the northwestern quadrant of the intersection of Howland Boulevard and Forest Edge Drive, right across the street from the racetrack near Deltona High School. The 2,471 square foot area is in the form of a 7.5 foot wide strip that runs across the southern margin of a 4-acre parcel that's privately owned. This 4-acre property is proposed for commercial development, and presumably the request to vacate this 7.5 foot strip is to obtain more horizontal development control to accommodate required landscaping, landscape buffers, parking, drive aisles, etc. The segment of Howland Boulevard where the vacation request is located is a heavily trafficked corridor associated with intensive commercial, institution, and industrial land uses. I think we all understand that. And we all are cognizant of the fact that one day, probably sooner than later, there's going to be a need for further transportation improvements in the area. And as we know, transportation improvements require land to accommodate travel lanes, stormwater recovery areas, and whatnot. Therefore, staff recommends the City Commission not approve the vacation request for the 7.5 foot portion of right-of-ways within an antiquated subdivision known as the Davis Park Plat. The following findings of fact are offered as a support for denial of the request. As discussed, the 7,100 square foot area is part of the Howland Boulevard right-of-way. We know the Howland Boulevard right-of-way in this area is congested during AM and PM peak periods, especially. Various public works and engineering professionals, including professional engineer licensed staff members from both the county and the city, have indicated there may be a need for this land in the future to accommodate improvements to the Howland Boulevard corridor. And finally, the vacation of the subject right-of-way, which may deleteriously impact the future efficient and cost-effective provision of public infrastructure, in this case, a major thoroughfare right-of-way, is not consistent with the comprehensive plan. I'd be happy to field any questions you all may have with regard to this request.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Bradford, and then Commissioner McCool.
Okay, looking at this map, Ron, or Mr. Paradise, that's the area, isn't that sidewalk currently?
No, ma'am, it is currently,
on the other side of the sidewalk?
It's further north of the sidewalk.
Is that where the old sign used to be?
It's further north of that location.
Okay. And they're not wanting this property for a turn lane, they're just wanting it to have it for additional?
That's what I can presume, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I do know, I will concur, that is a heavily congested intersection at this point, and as Halifax Crossing continues to grow, it's going to become even more congested, and we also have a high school right across the street. And if we don't have an alternative method to keep traffic flowing in a safe way, we're going to have a problem there. So I personally couldn't support this myself.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner McCool?
I'm sorry, I'm going to need the John Madden version of this. So break it down for me, okay? Because I really want to understand this. There is a private individual or individuals that own this property. They own the part of the right-of-way.
They do not. No, they own land immediately abutting it.
Okay. and they want the right to use the property how they want to use it.
They want, basically, yes, they want the city, if this vacation were to be approved, the city would essentially give that land to the private landowner.
So the landowner doesn't actually own?
No, ma'am.
The landowner, I'm sorry, guys, but I'm getting the John Madden version here. The landowner owns the land, but we don't want them to use it how they see fit. We want them to use it how we see fit.
They do.
The city owns it. Okay,
Yes.
I got you.
And they want it to expand their parcel by that amount of space so that they can use that in proportion to allow them to do a more different type or a more intense development, or use that as a buffer should they want to develop.
Why would we give them our land?
Well, they asked.
Okay.
They're asking.
All right,
And-
case solved. It's clear in my head now. I'll get it. I'm so sorry.
Perhaps clear things up a little bit. Typically, much of these type of roadways.
Do you have your mic, Skip?
Typically, many of these roadways and even the sewer lines are dedicated as an easement off of somebody's land. So you'll own an acre and you'll dedicate an easement for the south 10 feet. If the city would release its or abandon its interest in the property, it would revert back to the property owner who originally dedicated or the successor. Now, it is possible that the city could have purchased the property and owned the fee simple interest, but I can't tell you what's the case in this situation. But the result is the same. If you want to give it to them, they're going to use it.
I'm understanding now, but from the way I was reading it, so I understand now. Thank you.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Sorry, I just have a question. I'm guessing part of the reason they want that extra footage is because we have a 25-foot setback, and they're probably trying to accommodate a turnaround and everything that we're requiring. Is it possible, I mean, this isn't going to, number one, stop them, and is there a way for them to, are we working with them if they don't get this in order to have the adequate parking and setbacks and everything that's necessary? Can they do, oh God, my brain went dead. I want to say accommodation, but it's not accommodation. Can we do a variance? Thank you. Can we do a variance or anything? Or, I mean,
Well, I don't think they're going to need a variance. They wouldn't
Okay.
have a hardship because they have a myriad of design options of which to accommodate some
Okay.
development form there.
awesome, thank you.
Okay. No more comments from commissioners. Do we have anyone from the public that wanted to speak on this?
No, Mayor.
Okay, then we'll go ahead and close the public portion of the hearing for that, the public comment portion. Vice Mayor Bradford? Go for it.
I hereby make a motion to deny the request to vacate the north half of a 15-foot driveway running south of lots 18 and 29, Block 9, Davis Park, 3rd edition, MB 18, page 117 of the public records of Volusia County, Florida, and 7.5 foot of the Mango Street right-of-way located south of the southerly extent of the Mango Street right-of-way vacated by Book 7819, page 98, and not approve resolution number 2021-19 based on the following. I didn't know it was this long. The 2,471 square foot area is currently part of the Helen Boulevard right-of-way. B, Helen Boulevard in the vicinity of the land to be vacated is congested, especially during AM, PM peak hours. C, various public works and engineering professionals, including PE, licensed engineers from both the city and the county, have indicated there may be a need for the land in the future to accommodate improvements to the Helen Boulevard corridor. D, the vacation of the subject right-of-way, which may deleteriously impact the future efficient and cost-effective provisions of public infrastructure. In this case, a major thoroughfare roadway is not consistent with the comprehensive plan. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of Scrivener errors and the like.
Second.
Okay, properly moved by Vice Mayor Bradford, seconded by, that was you, Commissioner Ramos? Okay. And there is nothing for the city attorney to read, so may we vote, please?
Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
Okay, can you clarify? Yes means she's voting against it, right?
Yes.
So I'm going along with her vote. That would be yes?
For denial.
Right.
Yes.
For denial?
Yes, for denial.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Hersberg?
Yes. And the motion passes 6-0 for denial. And commissioners, when Commissioner or Vice Mayor Bradford read that, am I right that that is when she read all the reasons why, that is to clarify for a legal challenge or anything else that it does not work? And that's the point of spelling out why we are voting to deny.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go ahead and move to item E. Item E is a request for an approval to expend no more than $30,000 in the State of Florida Finance Corporation SHIP funds for an owner-occupied repair project. And Mr. Paradise, this is you as well. Commissioners, do you have any questions on this? This is a homeowner that wants to have a new roof and a new HVAC system put in, and Commissioner McCool.
I just had two questions. This is for my edification, okay? How big is this house? Square footage is this house?
I don't know the exact square footage of this dwelling unit. I believe
It's a four-bedroom, two-bath.
I think it's a 4-2, so it's probably in excess of 1,200 square feet. I can say that with a high degree of confidence.
Okay. And I don't know, I'm just looking at the labor and materials on some of the stuff. I'm trying to get a reality check here. Is this like correct? I'm looking $2,000 to put in smoke alarms.
I looked at that as well, and I don't understand why is that part of?
A lot of it's the hardwiring that goes into that.
So they're hardwired, they're not
Yeah.
battery up, okay?
They're both.
Both.
Yeah, both battery powered and backed up by hardwiring.
Is that standard?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And just the roofing, I know that I just had mine done 1,600 square foot for 11 grand, and it's 16, so I'm trying to get a reality check here.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep in mind that what you're seeing is a proposal from a contractor, okay? And the contractor manages these rehabilitation projects. And of course, for that management, you know, they come in and they have, you know, some money for them. That's the reason why these prices are a little bit higher than if somebody went out as a standalone and bought or paid for these services. What the benefit the contractors do is they stand behind their work. Any callbacks go to the contractor, and city staff doesn't get involved in any of that.
At the same turn of the coin, however, wouldn't that also mean that myself as a resident wouldn't be allowed or able to get the same contractor pricing that the contractor gets? So, I mean, I'm just saying all things being equal.
That is correct.
Okay.
Commissioner McCool, if I can maybe answer part of your question as to why the roof is, and I don't know, Mr. Paradise or Vice Mayor Bradford, if this makes a difference, the home has at least 5 skylights.
Yeah, I'm not questioning anyone's integrity or anything like that. I'm just trying to get a reality check because I do care about, we have a lot of need here, and if they're better pricing or whatever, you know what I mean? That's all I'm trying to do. So Parthy Construction, I am not getting, questioning I'm just trying to get a reality check about how much stuff really costs. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Those were my questions exactly, because $1,600, I mean, even if it's a 1,200 square foot, I mean, they're getting a pretty good premium per square for that house. And generally, a GC is awarded, it's usually about 20% allocation.
Yep.
So, you know, that's, you're still about $3-4 grand, a little bit high on that. The smoke detectors and labor, I mean, if there's no wiring ran and they're having to run wires, that could typically honestly fall in line, or it could even be more depending on the wiring of the home. It could actually eat up more if they open a box and it becomes electrical nightmare, because once they open it, they own it. So I guess with this, it's kind of going to be a give and take. I mean, I'm assuming they've already looked at it and they understand what they're going to own when they touch that wiring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone that wanted to speak for public comment on this?
No, Mayor.
Okay, then we'll open.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, dear, go ahead. I'm
Sorry.
going to close the public comment first. Okay, so Commissioner Avila Vasquez.
Thank you. Sorry, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Ron, is this a family that filled out a form and was approved by the city for this project?
Yes, ma'am, they did fill out an application, and that application has been thoroughly vetted.
And you normally spend $25,000, and this is going over $5,000? Is that what we're saying here?
That is correct. This job has been bid out at $26,650, but we're asking for a little bit of contingency at even $30,000.
Okay. And was this application one among others, many others?
We do have other owner-occupied rehabilitation applicants that is being reviewed as we speak. Every project stands on its own merits and is reviewed individually.
How many do we normally approve in a year? How many of these?
Typically, we probably do anywhere from 4 to 6, depending on the types of projects, how much money we have, and you know, other parameters.
And this was the first bid, or this was the lowest bid that you received for this house?
What we do is we have a pool of contractors, which isn't that deep. It consists of 2 contractors, and we engage in what is known as a non-qualified bid, where each contractor goes out there, looks at the job, and then they end up, you know, submitting a bid, and we take the low bidder. Typically, that's how it works.
Thank you, Ron.
Ron, I just have 2 questions. When was the house re-roofed?
This house was re-roofed 17 years ago in '04.
In '04? It had a re-roof?
Yep.
Okay, and the other question is, when was the AC last replaced?
We have 2 AC replacement events. One was in '08, and the other was very recent in '19. The reason why the city is stepping up to replace that AC is because evidently the one that was replaced at the behest of the homeowner through a home warranty company was not sized or adequately powerful enough to cool the house in an efficient manner.
So they had, the second AC replacement was in 2019,
Yes, ma'am.
and it's too small.
That's correct. And that's kind of my lay terminology, and I'm not an HVAC expert by any stretch of the imagination. I just hope when I turn it on, it gets cool.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
So has it been approached in the matter of, if this was under one of those home warranty programs, did they approach to try to get it rectified before we spend $6,000? I mean,
I do not know. I can say that the city made no effort to address that issue with the home warranty company.
I guess my thought on that is I would think that that company that put that system in should be held accountable to put the right size unit in there. Those home warranty, if it's what I'm thinking, it's probably one of those insurance home warranties, and the AC went out and they put a new unit in, they put the wrong size in, and now we're going to eat the cost. I mean, I'm good on the roof, but you kind of threw me on that last part with the AC. I mean, I personally think that all avenues need to be explored, and the homeowner should be going after the home warranty company to put the adequate size AC system in there. Just saying.
Yeah, and that's something the city can't get itself involved in, right?
That's correct.
I mean, we need to stay out of that. And this home was sold in 2015, and then it was sold again in 2018. So wherever the home warranty came from, more than likely. So this current owner purchased in 2018, correct?
That is my recollection, yes.
Okay. So commissioners, we need a decision on whether or not we need a motion for approval or denial to expend the $30,000 that goes above the $25,000 in CHIP funds. And Ron, before we do that, how are we in CHIP funding right now? Are we good or are we low? In other words, for the other projects in the pipeline?
We have money to accommodate the other projects, but we never seem to have enough money in a year.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you. Ron, is there a requirement of how long you have to be living in a home before you can apply for one of these repair loans?
We typically require a residency of 6 months.
Okay. I thought it was a little bit more, but thank you.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
One more question before I make a motion. If we make a motion to do the roof with the request that they try to get the home warranty, because I'm assuming, and this is an assumption, that when they purchased the house, they bought the extra home warranty that they sell with it and that they try to get it. If they are not able to do this, are we allowed to come back and then approve the AC, or once it's through, that's it?
Yeah, I mean, if you all approve this tonight as requested, we'll just go through with the project and replace the HVAC system that's there. If it's the commission's direction, make a motion just to forego paying for the AC system, and then the owner be on their own to deal with the warranty company that did the project.
Vice Mayor?
That's line. Yeah, go ahead.
But wouldn't the resident be able then to apply again, if anything, for the HVAC?
Typically, we have a restriction that somebody that's been assisted cannot come back.
Okay.
Commissioner McCool?
Okay, that being said, are we allowed to add the caveat to that they must complete due diligence with the warranty before the AC is approved, or only allow them so much money? How do we do that? Not how, not what we can't do, but what can we do to assist the homeowner? We're in April now, it's going to get hot. I don't want a resident to be without an AC unit, but I also don't want us to be on the hook for something that is someone else's responsibility. So how do we accomplish that?
I'm not sure that I could offer any solution. It's certainly not the city's place to advocate for this homeowner with their warranty company. Like I said, I'm not sure.
I'm not asking us to get involved with that, but I'm just asking us to put a caveat in there that says that the homeowner, at the instruction of the city, must do due diligence in order to get that AC.
And what level of due diligence is the question that we would accept as being, appropriate?
Let me ask you this, Ron. How long is the process from us approving this tonight to them getting what they need?
Probably we would start, construction on this project, and they would be, finished up by July at the latest.
So, I mean, at least making an attempt within 30 days of award to communicate with the home warranty and then get some answer back, report back to the city. I think that that's minimal to show that there has been a good faith effort to remedy this, you know. So, I mean, I'm not asking us to advocate, but I'm asking the resident to advocate for themselves, right? Because they have a choice. I mean, either we have the ability to put that caveat in there, or we say no to the AC unit and award the roof. I mean, that's where I'm at with it.
I mean, we could give them 30 days to, and require that they make a written request to the home insurance or home warranty company and see where it goes.
Mayor?
Yes.
I think I like the idea that Ron just mentioned. You know, give them time to get back to the home warranty and see what they can get, and then maybe come back to us for approval. You know, my other option is just to go ahead and approve this and then use this going forward as something to look into going forward to fixing homes, if there is such a warranty that had been used before or not.
So
Okay.
you all be, the direction of the commission appears that it would be to ask the homeowner to write a letter within a 30-day window. Fair enough. And
yes,
Ron, do we have, I'm sorry, Honorable Madam Mayor. Ron, do we have 30 days in which to say that we are awarding contingent upon this, or do we need to bring the matter back to us? So the homeowner needs to have 30 days in which to compose a letter to the home warranty company and to bring back to us that they have at least attempted to do due diligence to this before we approve it. My thought is that if we approve it now, right, get the ball rolling and say, yes, Ron, do this, then we don't have to necessarily bring this back to us.
Correct.
It will be Ron, it will be in your offices, your ability to say yes or no at that time.
that's
So,
correct.
Is that good?
Yeah, what we would do is, you know, require a letter go out ASAP, drafted by the homeowner. We would be copied on that letter. If the letter doesn't forthcoming within 30 days, the city will continue on with the project in totality. If the homeowner does not write the letter, then we can continue with the project, less the HVAC system.
With that being said, Madam Mayor?
If you'd like to make a motion, you can, but I have Commissioner King and the Vice Mayor on the board as well, so.
We're on the same page. Good.
Ron, a couple of questions. You said that they've already had the roof repaired once already?
17 years ago is a re-roof.
Was a new roof 17 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. And so in other words, do they need a new roof right now, or are they worried that their roof is only guaranteed for 20 years and they've only got 3 years left?
The inspector indicates a new roof is needed.
I do have a comment. I don't want to sound insensitive, but seems like to me that these people should have done their due diligence already. Either they can't, they're incapable, or they can't, or they don't want to already. So we're talking about the homeowner, because they've had the air conditioning replaced as well twice, and they still have not contacted the company that put it in. It should have been taken care of by them. It's probably under some kind of warranty, and now they're coming to us to get this money.
Yeah, with the intent of full disclosure here, I am not sure what avenues of relief this homeowner has taken with their home warranty company. I just, like I said, I've never discussed personally with this applicant, what measures they took.
Well, I sort of feel like it's, it looks to me more like just a handout, and I'm trying to be nice about this.
Yeah,
rather than-
keep in mind, this is a means-based program, and they do need to income qualify.
Right. But if they may income qualify, but they're still not willing to make any effort on their own to get where they are taking care of their property on their own. Coming to the city and asking us for $30,000 to make repairs on their house.
Yeah, and
I mean,
this is part of the city's owner-occ rehab program, something that we've been involved in for years and years and years as an entitlement company, city.
all right, thank you.
Vice Mayor and then Commissioner McCool.
And I understand what you're saying, Commissioner King. I mean, it's a tough one. We don't know, have they already tried? Have they exhausted all possibilities? The concern we have is, we do get the SHIP funds to utilize to help these individuals. I'm assuming the city, our venting process is very strong. I mean, I know we're all on the same page, but right now we're all making an assumption that they haven't, when in all due respect, they could have been very well have already done this and exhausted all possibilities. One of the largest problems, and this is something we need to bring up in the future, and then one of the biggest problems I see is we get a lot of flippers, and these flippers come into the city and they take these homes and they put the minimal that they possibly can, and this is what you end up with. You end up with a smaller AC unit. You end up with poor electrical. You end up with, I get calls frequently, come help me. I bought this home, it looks wonderful, but behind the scenes it's horrible. And that a lot of times comes from these housing rehab and these flippers. And then the individuals, they don't have the funds to put that new roof. They don't have the funds to do that AC system and to change that electrical, because when they walked in, it was a beautiful home, but it was cosmetic. So, I see both sides of it. I believe I'm going to go ahead and I believe Ms. McCool, Honorable McCool is going to go ahead and make a motion. I'm going to go ahead and let her do that.
Okay, Commissioner McCool, and then go ahead, Commissioner McCool.
My last two questions, but I will make the motion, is, I'm sorry, could you tell me again how long the resident has been in the home?
Since 2018. I don't know what month they moved in.
Second question, if this were $25,000 or under, would you have to come to us with this?
No, ma'am.
So keeping that in mind, it's $1,000, $1,500 over what their department is able to do without our okay. So basically, they're just coming as is. So I think the extra effort is noted here. So with that being said, I hereby move to grant approval to extend no more than $30,000 in Florida Housing Finance Corporation SHIP funds on the rehab project, with the caveat that your office will direct the resident to provide within 30 days a notice showing due diligence that they have tried to contact the warranty company and ask about replacement before your office approves the full amount for the project.
Second.
The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of Scrivener's errors and the like. Does that sound right, Madam Honorable Mayor?
I believe so. If Mr. Paradise is good with that, the Commissioner McCool made the motion and Commissioner Ramos seconded that. Did we have any public comment for that item?
Albert Bryan, please.
I have a question. Albert Bryan, Deltona. I have a question on this.
if I'm understanding Mr. Paradise right, they bought this 3 years ago. They bought a house that had a bad roof on it. And the city's going to okay $16,000 for a roof. Again, that's asphalt shingles. If you're going to spend $16,000 for a roof, wouldn't it be more wise to have a metal roof put in on Florida? They last 40 years, not 15 to 25 years. Just some of this just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You move in to a house 3 years ago, you're not inspected, you didn't have a home inspection, didn't do your due diligence on this house. Now, I understand about your flipping, but a good house inspection will tell you that you got a bad, old, decrepit AC unit. You got a bad, old, decrepit roof. And I'm sorry, $16,000 for a roof? How many square foot is this house? Is it over 3,500 square foot for $16,000? Or do they have gaping holes in it and they got to replace all the plywood? Because it doesn't make sense. I just redid my brother's house with his roof, with a metal roof 3 years ago. And you know something? It certainly didn't cost me $16,000 for a metal roof. Matter of fact, it cost me about $8,000. And you know, that metal roof will last him probably about 30 years. 30, maybe 40 years, unless we get a terrible hurricane through here. Maybe, and only maybe then, you might have a problem with it, but I doubt it. But to sit here and okay something for another shingle roof, which in the state of Florida lasts on average between, what, 15 and 25 years. And then 25 years is really, really, really stretching it. Because I'll be honest with you, I had my roof redone back in 2001, 2002, somewhere right around there. And I'm on the verge of needing another one. If I was to sell my house today, I would have to tell them that, you know, it's almost 20 some odd years old. You're going to have to look into it. It just doesn't make any sense. You're okay in 16 grand for a roof that's going to last him the whole time of the lien that you're putting on the house. And that's good that you do that, but if he's got to redo this house right at the end of that lien, is he going to come back for more money?
Thank you, sir. Is that it? Yes, ma'am.
Brandy White, Deltona. I'm all for the program, but after hearing the comments that were made, 2 contractors, that's all we checked out, 2. That sounds like a sweetheart deal. Where do I sign up? I want to be one of 2. I mean, that's a huge problem. I don't know why y'all are even going to not table this until you get some real bidding going on. That's a huge amount of money. You bought a home with a 14-year-old roof, and I'm for the program, but this smells bad. You have an AC unit that was just replaced but too small. How did it pass inspection from Deltona? If it was too small for the home, how did it pass? Oh, I could probably tell you because mine shows mine passed, but mine don't have a signature on it where they came out. Maybe one of those deals. I'd table this. This is horrible. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, ma'am. That's it. Close the public comment on this item, and now I'm going to make a couple of comments. When I looked at this the first time, I drove by. It's a really nice house. It's a brick home on a corner street. And I want to start by saying that this is by no means a reflection on who applied for this. I don't know. I don't know who applied for this. I don't know the people. But in things like this, I look them up on the property appraiser and I take a drive-by just to satisfy my own curiosity, what area is it in, and so forth, because my experience with this program is there's a lot of older people that need help, can't afford an AC, so they pop window units in everywhere, and they're afraid to sign on the dotted line because there's that 15-year lien, as you stated, Mr. Bryan. And they're afraid to go ahead and sign their only asset away, and so they don't go through with it. You'll verify that, correct, Mr. Paradise? Thank you. I know people that in the end are afraid to do that. So when one of these comes up, I usually take a look and see. And And this house, to me, was a little interesting, so I looked it up on the property appraiser, and it's a protected address. So you have no access to any of the permits. You can't see the permits, and you can't see the sales history. And again, like I said, no reflection on any of an individual. So I just Googled it and got the realtor thing, and it was sold in 2015. And then it was sold again in 2018. And then I asked to see the permitting history on that again, just from the city, because not able to get anything else off the property appraiser. And that's when I was told there was a re-roof in '04 and then an AC in 2018. And until I asked for that permit information today, I think it was, I didn't realize that there was also, because the realtor things say new AC and so forth, and it did, in the realtor thing, it said the '04 roof, '08, but it never said anything about the AC in 2019. And I was told today that there was a permit taken out for that in 2019. There was also a garage door was replaced, a fence permit for a vinyl fence was taken out in 2018, and the realtor thing, when it had it for sale, said it was a new septic tank in 2019, but there was no permit. So I don't know if that happened or not. I mean, things can be said. I mean, again, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. But the one thing that I would ask in the future, I know that there are guidelines for SHIP funding. Maybe internally, we need to look at the history of the house, and maybe we need to look at the history of permitting, and we need to go ahead and look and see if permits have been pulled, because Vice Mayor Bradford, to your point, things happen when they sell a house, they flip it, they put the smaller unit in, they don't put the adequate things in a lot of the time. I shouldn't say a lot of the time, it happens sometimes. So I would just ask the acting manager and Mr. Paradise, in the future, when you have things that are unusual like this, you look at the sales history, because if you sold it in 2018, you should have been told that the roof, especially with the multiple skylights on that, wasn't so great. And then after the sale, there was the replace of the AC that turned out to be a problem. So that's my full disclosure, and not only this one, I tend to do that with other ones, and just out of curiosity to see where the SHIP funding is going and what our process is. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Public comment is closed, and may we vote, please?
Commissioner Villa-Vasquez?
No.
Commissioner King?
No.
Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
No.
Mayor Hersberg?
No. Motion fails 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Was it
4?
4 to 2? I'm sorry, I missed one yes in there, I apologize. That was Commissioner McCool and Commissioner Ramos for yes. So I don't know, Mr. Paradise, if you get the estimate in under the 25,000 or how that works. That you don't.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Did we just approve the motion that Commissioner McCool made, or are we giving Ron a chance to go and give the owners the opportunity to go back to the home warranty and research about the air condition?
The motion failed. Commissioner McCool's motion to approve the 30,000, but to go back and ask for some information on the AC unit situation by the warranty company. That was her motion. The motion failed.
Okay, thank you, Madam.
Mr. Paradise?
Yeah, I would suggest that we can go back to the drawing board on this to come up with a scope of work that's below $25,000. If that's the if that's the direction of the City Commission, I would appreciate, a vote in the affirmation of that direction, please.
Do you need a vote, City Attorney? I know that he wants to solidify that, so because the denial came on the motion, you don't want the denial to be on the entire project.
Yes, I'd like, just to clarification that we can move forward with something just as long as it comes under the $25,000 threshold.
Commissioner McCool, were you still on the board?
Yeah.
And then
Yes,
Vice Mayor.
it's my understanding that it's his department, their department, and if it's under $25,000, he doesn't have to come to the commission. He can do it under $25,000.
If that is the consensus of the commission, then.
Vice Mayor.
I guess here's my problem, and there's been a lot of great points brought up tonight, and, trust me, my heart bleeds. Like I said, I see this so much where I don't know if they're young, I don't know if they're old, I don't know, but there is a responsibility when you purchase a home to get an inspection. Everybody knows there's a couple things you look at. Number one is you can't miss a roof. I get it. I even have, out of all of them, the number one thing that I see is I want to make sure they get smoke alarms. That isn't a concern to me. I don't want anybody without it. But then again, we also have battery-operated smoke alarms that can go up right away as well. So it's not that there's any hindering. And the first thing that comes to my mind is we probably have a lot of older homes, long-time homeowners that need a new roof. I still see a lot of blue tarps from Hurricane 2 years ago. I would love to see some of those old blue tarps removed that were done during hurricane of individuals who couldn't afford even the 2% hurricane deductible. To me, and I don't know, I guess we can't reach out to them. They've got to reach out to us, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So, that's my first thing goes to is a new homeowner should have done their due diligence. And this program, I believe in my heart, was put into place for those homeowners, just like I said. They came under a misfortune tragedy. They've owned the home for a long time. They can't afford that. Not a new homeowner. So, I know you guys can approve it like, Honorable Commissioner McCool said, without our blessing, but at this point, I'm not able to give my blessing on this one.
Okay.
Commissioner McCool.
Yes, and just for understanding, I'm trying to understand procedurally, okay? Because I need to clarify, I have the question in my mind regarding this, that this is under staff's direction, and because it would not exceed, if he goes back and it's under $25,000, do we at that juncture become a charter issue in directing staff about what to do with something that is their program if it is under $25,000? At that time, it becomes a point of procedure. That's what I'm trying to clarify. Everyone's thoughts are clear on this, but procedurally, I'm trying to understand this would have never made it to us because it says low income. They qualified as low income, which is the qualifier for this program. And it's their program, and it would have never made it here had it not been over. So procedurally, I'm trying to understand if we have any business telling you what to do with that $25,000 if it's under that.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah, just hang on. Let Mr. Paradise answer if he was going to,
Yes.
The city has approved a local housing assistance plan that sets forth policies on how these programs are administered. And the threshold decided by this body was, I want to say, $40,000. It was either $30,000 or $40,000 that it couldn't exceed without coming to this body for basically an exception or an amendment to its LHAP. The reason why we're here is what correctly observed is it exceeds that $25,000 spending limit. The $25,000 in this particular case is not associated with a planning document or guidelines approved by the city how the project or the program is administered. Does that help frame?
It does, and if we can just get, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, if we could get clarification or an affirmative from the city attorney, city manager, as far as that goes.
Had this come up, had the question been asked about 10 minutes ago, I would have told you to approve it, provided, however, you're withholding $6,000 unless and until they demonstrate that they've pursued the warranty. And then if they do, they get it. If they don't, they haven't. Now, to specifically answer your question, yes, if you want to direct your staff not to approve this unless and until, you certainly can.
Commissioner Vasquez?
Thank you, Mayor. So I know that Ron, Mr. Paradise was he was asking for a consensus. I say yes. If he's staying within his limit, I don't have a problem with that.
And the limit being $25,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Commissioners. Mr. Peters and Mr. Fowler, what is your recommendation to memorialize this?
The $25,000 cap or not?
No, just because I think Mr. Paradise just wants to have a clear definition that we denied the overage, but we're not denying the project totally. Is that correct, sir? Mr. Paradise?
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
In other words, you're in favor of the project provided it doesn't exceed $25,000 at his option.
That's his limit. He doesn't have to bring it to us
No,
for
at
that.
$25,000 he doesn't have to, or he could have. And you certainly can tell him, no, don't approve it, period, unless and until. But if you wish to stop at $25,000, then you certainly can, and then it's up to Mr. Paradise to decide whether he wants to spend $25,000.
Okay, Commissioners, what is your wish? Because I feel like for Mr. Paradise, he needs something memorialized. Commissioner McCool?
I would like to hear from our city manager.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I was just going to say, I don't know that we necessarily need a motion, to your point, Commissioner Dana. But in essence, to what Ron Paradise is asking us, then just a consent across this board, it's enough for us to move forward.
Are you good with that, Mr.? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I agree with that.
So,
Mr. Peters, any comment?
Yes, ma'am. I'm in complete agreement with the city attorney. It seems like the true issue here is the air conditioning system and the service warranty, as I call them. Having seen some of them through the years, when you read the mic type, when you accept the money, you basically give up your right to complain later. And I'm sure that there's probably something similar here. Like the city attorney said, I would have recommended that you proceed with the full amount, but give staff the authority to review the warranty and see if there was such mic type that precluded their ability to go back on it. And with that, then we would be authorized to go ahead and proceed.
Hallelujah.
We good with that, Commissioners? Yes, ma'am.
I'm still at the fact of they just bought it, you said 2018? They just bought it 2 years ago, so they would have had to have known when they bought it.
2019 was, yeah.
2018, 2019.
2018, I think.
I mean, you hear all the time when people negotiate that, you need a new roof, put a new roof on before I buy it. Like I said, we have a lot of blue tarps out there still from a senior community of individuals that haven't been able to afford, or even younger, from the tornado, that couldn't afford to get their blue tarp off their roof from the hurricane. How many other applicants are waiting in queue?
I don't know. It's not that many, though. I can't give you an exact number right now.
I mean, part of me wants to say that we table this until we get some more answers. Do we have other individuals in queue waiting for CHIP funds that might, be a little older homes, more desperate in need, a little older buyers?
Commissioner McCool?
Part of the problem and issue, because I mean, although I don't work in Mr. Paradise's department, I have worked within we've talked about this for the last several years, and the point is getting people able to qualify for these funds is part of the issue. There has been outreach, I know that from that department, and it's like with CARES Act funds also, trying to get people qualified. For one reason or the other, they're not getting qualified. It's not we're not the ones setting precedents for how they get qualified. We're following guidelines from the grand poobahs up on high about who is getting qualified. So if somebody has gone through the process, they've qualified, they've done the outreach, they've done the paperwork, they've put the footwork in, they're obviously in the inbox for a reason. And so they have gone through that. Yes, there might be other people that need it, but there are a lot of people that are not qualifying for all of these funds. They have qualified. They might not have been made the brightest choices, and they're on a learning curve about that, but they've done the work. They're following the letter of the law of what we have put down. They've qualified for the funds, and we have directed as a city this department to oversee those funds and have given them guidelines, which is $25,000 to work up under. So they're doing all the paperwork and the behind-the-scenes stuff and know who qualified, know who's applying, and that's where I'm at with that. $25,000, you're in your budget. We have given direction that they make the decision. We've trusted them with doing that, doing the qualifying. So,
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Can we call the question, please, on the consensus question that Mr. Paradise requested?
Any more comments from anyone? Nope. All right, so in order to give Mr. Paradise direction, we need consensus, or I would recommend that we get consensus that, from what I'm hearing you say, Mr. Paradise, to stay within, and Commissioner McCool, your $25,000 limit, and then see what happens from there.
We've got a budget, if that's a consensus, we'll have a budget of $24,999.99.
Are we good with that, commissioners?
yes.
Commissioner King, Commissioner McCool,
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos, Vice Mayor? You don't have to be, you can say no.
No.
Commissioner Avila Vasquez, you good with that?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. And now we will move to the next item, which is the public forum.
Okay. Jason Hollenbach, then TJ Rivera, then Urelis Navis, then Brandy White. Jason Hollenbach, please.
Good evening, everybody. Madam Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, City Commissioners. My name is Jason Hollenbach. I am the president of the Deltona Youth Soccer Club. Excuse me, a little dry there. Just wanted to kind of give you a status of the club and introduce myself. The club has been around since 1981. I just became the president a little over a year ago. And just want to kind of tell you about the club. The club has approximately 200 players in the junior and senior academies, which is the start off for all the kids. And we have about 140 players in the competitive travel portion of the club. All the coaches are licensed, and all of the adults that come into contact with the kids, the coaches, the assistant coaches, all the board members that work for me are all background checked. They're all Safe Sport and CDC checked as well. So everybody is taken care of. So we're making sure the kids are staying safe. We play exclusively at the Dewey Booster Sports Complex in the back there. And I will say, my son is in the travel portion of the program, and we've traveled around Central Florida, and I will say that Dewey has the best fields in Central Florida. I will say, so thank you for that. We currently play 2 seasons per year. We play a spring season and we play a fall season. And in between those 2 seasons, we have summer camp and winter camps. So we keep the kids playing and practicing pretty much all year round, for the ones that do want to participate. And the winter and summer camps are all open to the community. So all the kids, anybody can come out and play. And we try to just announce that to everybody and let everybody know that we're there. And I think that's part of the problem that we have is is getting the word out that we are there. So that's another reason why I'm here, is just to let you guys know that we are here. We're here for the community. And again, the purpose of the club is to introduce the kids to soccer, the ones that are interested in it, which is where they start with the junior and senior programs. And then for the ones that want to go further and continue their training, you know, to prepare for high school and beyond, they'll go to the competitive side of the program. And that's pretty much it. So again, thank you for your time. Have a great night.
Thank you, sir.
TJ Rivera, please.
Good evening, everyone. Well, my name is TJ Rivera. I'm the unit director of the Boys and Girls Club here in Deltona. First, I'm here tonight to say thank you to the city and especially Parks and Recs, because anything that we need, we get it in the building. Second, I've been here with the Boys and Girls Club for 3 years. Since I started at the Boys and Girls Club, after the Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, I transferred here. And since I came here, me and staff, we created a safety place for the kids. I started 3 years ago with 30 kids. 2 summers ago, we ended with 80 kids. How we create that, we basically, I have 2 things. I have my supervisor here, so I'm gonna say safety first, but the second one is fun. When they have fun, they wanna go back to the place. My club, it was closed because of the pandemic last year on March, but we didn't stop. My staff, we didn't stop. We did a hybrid virtually with the kids, doing videos on Facebook for them to do activities and all that. 2021 has been still a challenge for us with the safety, telling the kids that, hey, you need to keep your mask on, social distancing, no hugs. It has been hard, but still, as of today, we have average daily attendance of 60 kids at the club on a daily basis. We have 4 staff, 5 if including me. We have 4 staff that 2 of those staff are junior staff. We have a program in which we dedicate the high schoolers 16 until they senior year, and we provide them employment at the club. So they return to the community. They serve as mentors, growing up in the club and now helping the kids out. But one thing I would like to offer the city, if possible, our hours of operation are from 2 to 6, saying that middle schoolers, they get to the club at 5. So they only have 1 hour so they can do their homework, help them mentoring and all that. And it's kind of hard. So I would like at least extend our program until 7 p.m. That will work. And the other 7 clubs in Volusia County, they operate until 7 o'clock. We are the only one that closes at 6. Other thing, and last, today we got the safety assessment by Boys and Girls Club of America, and everything was good. Building is safe, but we have a hallway that goes to the bathroom, and they asked us if we can put like a mirror that you see the person from far. So that's the only request. Other than that, thank you for the city for letting us use the Harry Saxon building. Like I said, we served so many kids. During these 3 years, I can say I have served 350 kids at least of this community. So once again, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Eurelis Navas, please.
Can I say something real quick? I have annual reports. I don't know if I can hand it to you guys.
You can actually give it to the clerk.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be perfect, and they will pass them out to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Commissioners. Good night. I really enjoy to see you guys. I'm going to take this off. I can't. Okay, I enjoy to see you guys going back and forth for $30,000 for a human. We're going into budget pretty soon. We have $50,000 that nobody knows anything about. Again, I'm here with the TNR. I work with Mr. Ramos is here with the CDBG through the CLC, and the paperwork and the amount of paperwork that we have to do to provide $200 for a resident for electric bill is this big. And it goes not just only, it was the CLC, which is a nonprofit, or it was a nonprofit, our board of directors and everybody had to approve that, and then it goes to the city, and the city approved it too. That was like to the minimum sense it has to be counted. This was awarded $15,000 to provide services for the community to prevent homelessness from the CDBG money. On the Florida statute 28.30, number 3C, asks for a date of the vaccination for rabies. It also asks for expiration date. So me, as a resident that owns an animal, I am requested, not even requested, I have to have, within the city limits, my dogs has to have rabies vaccine every 1 or 3 years. We have this TNR animals that go freely, that are vaccinated once, and maybe we don't know how long they go without vaccination again. Yesterday, I was at the 415 Walmart. There are, inside the bushes, I had never seen that before. For some reason, I don't know, I'm nosy. I was looking at the bushes. They're like 3 stack of tires where somebody made it into like a cat home. And I will send the pictures to you guys. The amount of garbage, cans of cat food in there is unbelievable. The city doesn't own that property. Walmart does. And now we're risking hundreds of people that go in there, maybe a kid that decides to run or whatever. You know, I had kids. They run in a split second to a cat that may have rabies. So are we gonna do something? I know it's gonna take time, but can we please, 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 please look at the budget and stop the funding until we have a good program? I'm not against the program. I feel so bad for the animals, but it's not fair that some humans are garbage and leave these animals behind, and other humans that are trying to live their life and enjoy their property are paying for it. As a lover, an animal lover, I love my doggies, and I will do anything for them. So as a responsible owner, I am, and the guidelines said, I have to have vaccination, I have to do this, I have to do that, but these animals that roam around, nobody knows. Nobody understands the program, we have to, I'm just asking and begging, let's defund it until we make this program well run. That's all I'm asking.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Brandy White, Deltona. Speaking of which, I don't know who gave permission to put my home address under public comments on the minutes, but I never state my address. I'd appreciate that stop being put on there. I never gave permission, never stated it. I don't know how it got on record. Secondly, I'm still bothered by the fact we only have 2 contractors that we take bids from for something so important like this. That's not physically responsible. I looked up some information. I found the homeowners. So I'm going to make a public records request real quick. The page in the SHIP contract, see, I tried to get the page, but funny, when I click the link, it says I have to have a login to view it. So that's kind of odd. But I want the SHIP page in the packet that they have to fill out that lists their occupation. Now, with that said, the reason I actually came tonight, you guys can have your shade meeting now. I went ahead and filed suit like you asked me to. I wish y'all could have just did the right thing, took care of this. I'm sure you'll get the summons here any day now. Going over to get the public records thing, I saw Urellis with these books back here. And so I just kind of peeked over, and it caught my attention, this one. It says, Guide to the Sunshine Amendment and Code of Ethics. And you know why I found that so funny? Is because when I was doing this and I was filing this, I actually referenced that in here. That as a matter of fact, back in 2019, Victor Ramos made a statement of having no code of ethics when they were talking about Jane Chang and what to do. Well, I mean, I think you do have one then, actually. So there was some confusion there that never got cleared up, legal guy over there. It was asked again by Commissioner Bradford. Look at this, again, I referenced it in here. She said that something needed to be done. Let's have a workshop. How's that workshop going? That was 2019. She said we should have a code of ethics. Having that probably would have prevented me having to sue you. Following it would have been even better. So I hope you guys have that shade meeting now. And it's unfortunate this is the route it had to take.
Thank you, ma'am.
Closes public records, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Public comment is now,
comments.
I know, not public records, public comment. Okay, next we have our consent agenda. Do we have any comments on consent agenda items from the citizens?
Albert Bryan, please.
Albert Bryan, Deltona. On item number E, all this nice computer language y'all have going on there. And then it states social media. I have to admit, I understand this is for the staff. I get it. I really do. Y'all need to take and tell the staff that they, can only have limits on certain things they do on social media, so forth and so on. My question is, does that same set of rules apply to everybody that sits up on this dais? Because if not, y'all need to change this to where it does. Anytime y'all use a computer here, y'all need to be same rules that they're under. Anytime y'all are on social media, you need to be under the same rules they are. Period, full stop. It's not do as we say. It's do as we do. Because if y'all can't adhere to the same rules as staff, y'all need to step down.
Thank you, sir.
That closes comments.
Okay, public comment is closed for consent. Next item we have up, which is the consent agenda. We have several items on consent. Item A is request for an approval of resolution number 2021-20, a budget amendment number 2021-37 for the general fund. Item B is request for approval of an agreement with the Florida Housing Coalition to provide professional services related to developing the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee report, the AHAC report. Item C, support for the county $144,648 expenditure for the fiscal year 1920, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant. This is the JAG grant that the county does every year. Item D, request for approval of recommendations for scholarship awards for the William S. Harvey Deltona Scholarship Advisory Board. Item E, request approval of the administrative policy CW 19-02, establishment of a computer and network usage and security policy. Item F, request for approval of the agreement for economic development, internet, and social media services for independent contractor David Winterrose. Item G, request approval of land acquisition policy and procedures modeled after Section 6, 7, and 9 of the FDOT right-of-way acquisition manual. Commissioner McCool.
I was just wanting to make my comments when appropriate.
Okay, first of all, we're going to need a motion. Would like to request to pull item E and for discussion, and so we will need a motion on A, B, C, D, F, and G, or anyone else that wants to pull anything.
Two.
What is item B?
C and E.
Okay, E is already pulled, so you're going to pull item C. Okay, then we have A, B, D, F, and G. Commissioner Ramos, did you?
Well, I was just going to, if no one else was going to pull anything, I was just going to make a motion.
Yes, just Commissioner McCool, and she wanted to have a discussion on, and Commissioner Avila Vasquez, are you okay? You don't want to pull any? Okay.
I make a motion to approve consent agenda item A, B, D, F, and G.
Okay, is there a second? Vice Mayor Bradford seconded that. Okay, Commissioner Ramos made the motion, Vice Mayor Bradford seconded that. May we vote on items A, B, D, F, and G, please?
Commissioner Villa Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Hersberg?
Yes, motion passes 6-0. And now we'll go to item C. Commissioner McCool, you wanted to pull that.
I did. I just, I'm understanding that, and I wanted some clarification, if I could, please. In this part where we talked about the money, the JAG, I understand that. I understand it going to adult drug court for SMA. And I also understand that we have pulled funding, and the vote is to send all of the support to SMA as opposed to the house next door, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Because they were not able to what, Ron?
They don't have the capacity to undertake the project this year. It's not unusual in these COVID-19 times where a lot of these social service entities are just full up.
So what I'm trying to understand, the JAG for the adult drug court, the programs, I know that we send Deltona residents through SMA, and my reason also is that I met with SMA on Thursday, and they were, we were discussing having a presence over here in Deltona. So I'm trying to understand, are we familiar as a city with the adult drug court program, what they do? I understand it's community service. I understand that it is so-and-so. Reason I'm asking, Ron, is to familiarize ourselves better with what SMA is doing as far as adult drug court, because I was told at a time when I had asked to have community service done over here, it would have to be done through a nonprofit when I asked for people that could come help community services pick up litter and the like, right? So I'm trying to make sure that our community service hours that we're paying for, in essence, are getting reinvested here in Deltona. So I just want to provide clarity on that.
I'm not sure the community service
So adult drug
linkage
court,
in this program.
we're giving SMA $144,000, right? For
Not the city, no, ma'am. This is a grant.
Right, we're allotting our money, right?
No, it's how the program works is these grants from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement come to a county. And the county, and part of the grant requires that the municipalities within the county also approve of the allocation that the county is suggesting, in this case, to Stuart Marchman Act.
And can I just, to clarify that even further, this is the first time it's ever come to the commission.
That's correct.
And under
As
the,
far as my knowledge.
under Acting City Manager Peters' transparency policy, he is bringing things that have never seen the light of day to the commission to memorialize them as it should be. And this is a letter that says we agree And if you read the letter, the majority of municipalities in the county would agree with how the county is going to direct the funding.
And Honorable Mayor, I get that and I understand that, but as like a new commissioner, I'm trying to understand procedure, policy, and if this is under that purview, I'm fine with that, but I need to ask the question for my own clarity, so I'm good with that.
Okay.
Did you want to? Okay, I'm going to give full disclosure here as a board member of the House Next Door. I'm very confused on this because I also called the president of the House Next Door and I said, please tell me how there's no time allocated for this and what they're saying is true. Because it was also brought to my attention when I said, hey, it was brought to us that they were going to be reaching out to the House Next Door for, at one of our meetings, for counseling services, and that never happened. So from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, the funds are given out in the way they're allocated is like a 2-year advance on these. Is that correct? These are in 2-year?
I don't know.
Okay, so what I was told, and unfortunately I don't have my phone that has my text message on it, but it basically said the funds are done in a 2-year increment. Due to COVID-19, just because of the constraint on the 2020, they were given, instead of their normal allocation of time to put the reports and everything together, they were given a much lesser amount of time. They never said they could not do this, from my understanding. Now, again, full disclosure, obviously I know that. What concerns me is I want to make sure that what you had just said, Honorable McCool, was that the funds are going for a certain age. I want to make sure drug abuse, addictions, all of these things have no age limits. And one of the benefits of utilizing a local group, and House Next Door has a office on Deltona Boulevard in Justin Square and has amazing counseling services. Not that I'm prejudiced to them, again, disclaimer, but they are present here. They do have that. They do offer counseling existing. And so to say that we want to bring it to a local, I'm not buying that, because this is a local group in Deltona that is offering counseling and services to our local residents. So help me understand what we're ripping away. And what staff member from the House Next Door or who directed that they didn't have time to do this?
This is information that was related to me from county staff. And again, I do not know the exact mechanics as to why the House Next Door, who in the past has gotten about $35,000 as part of this JAG grant.
I mean, it's not a huge amount, but it's still helpful to keep it's still helpful to keep a counseling service in Deltona that's beneficial for all age groups.
Yeah, I can provide the only insight that is related to me by Volusia County.
Okay, so we're doing this just because it was recommended by Volusia County to do it.
That's correct.
But we haven't really researched into the what, where, why.
They are the recipients of the funding. And if you look at this, the grant is provided by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement to help with countywide program activities. Funds will be available on a competitive basis between Volusia County nonprofit organizations and local cities that do not receive a direct JAG allegation. Eligible federal purpose areas include law enforcement, prosecution and court, prevention and education, corrections, community corrections, drug treatment and enforcement, planning, evaluation, technology, crime victim and witness programs, and mental health and related law enforcement and corrections programs. The Children and Families Advisory Board will review and score applications making funding recommendations. So according to this, which was December 9th, 2020, the Children and Families Advisory Board will review and score applications. So the reviewing and scoring of the applications for funding recommendations was done by the Children and Families Advisory Board, and obviously they recommended Stuart Marchman.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
You are correct. I was on that board for a few years, and the recommendation does come from the Family and Children Board. And everybody mentioned at the dais today gets a chance to apply directly to the Children and Family Board for this JAG. It's a special program grant that goes out. So yes, everybody gets a chance to apply directly with them, and the recommendation comes from them.
Okay, let me now read a letter that I just found that should clarify this. So this is, this was from the city manager to the mayor and members of the council of South Daytona, and it goes on to say the Edward Byrne Memorial the JAG grant provides funds to local and tribal units and so forth. Volusia County's allocation for fiscal year 1920 was $144,648. A notice of funding availability was advertised, and 2 applications were received from SMA Healthcare and the House Next Door. Volusia County's plan was to allocate JAG funds to both organizations. SMA Healthcare's award amount would be $113,545, and the House Next Door award amount would be $31,103. Grant regulations required approval of funding distribution plan proposed by Volusia County by the majority of all local governments within the county, us being one. As a result, the city, this is the city of South Daytona, approved Volusia County's plan to provide funding to both organizations at the June 9th, 2020 City Council meeting. This is South Daytona. The city recently received a letter from Volusia County requesting to amend their plans for the JAG funds by taking the $31,103 awarded to the House Next Door and reallocating it to SMA Healthcare. The reason given for the request is that the House Next Door was still trying to expend the funds given them the previous year by the county. Volusia County once again has asked if the city would approve of their plan revision. And so the mayor is required to sign, and the approval exit letter is there. So that is the reason that it was given only to Stuart Marchman, because the House Next Door, the reason for the request is the House Next Door was still trying to expend the funds given to them the previous year by the county. So in other words, they haven't spent last year's allocation.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
And each application is approved depending on the scores that they're given. So they get to score each application, and depending on what they turn in their applications and the level of their score, whether it be higher or lower or in the mid, that's what also determines, which organization gets approved and for how much. So if you have a low score, you're not going to get what you're requesting.
Right, and that's, and they just had 2 applicants, and the higher amount was given to SMA and the lower amount to the House Next Door, and that was sent out. This is dated March 4th, 2021, so evidently the original letter went out, which I don't recall, and then the county asked for another letter for approval for redistribution of the funds, giving everything to SMA, because the House Next Door did not use their money. They are still trying to expend the funds given to them the previous year. So if they're still trying to spend money, they're not going to load them up with more if they haven't gotten rid of last year's funding. So I hope that's clear. 2 applicants. It was originally a split. House Next Door didn't spend last year, so now everything goes to SMA because obviously they did.
And Madam Mayor, I am good with that. What I was trying to say is that I was just trying to make sure that we have that presence still actually in Deltona.
Right, understand, but that's not what we're talking about on this. We're not talking about having SMA here. This is a grant.
I get that.
So, I mean, what we have to focus on what exactly it is, and the vice mayor had questions due to being on the board. Does that clarify for you? Okay, so any more questions on this item?
Call for the vote.
Do we have a motion? Would you like to make a motion, sir?
Let me just flip the page. I would make a motion to support and otherwise approve the proposed $144,648 county allocation to Justice Assistance Grant funding for the Stewart Marchman Act Adult Drug Court Program, and direct the mayor to sign the letter of support. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections and subversions, errors, and the like.
Second.
Properly moved by Commissioner King, seconded by Commissioner Ramos. May we vote, please?
Mayor, may I ask a question of the attorney?
Yes.
Attorney, do I need to abstain from this vote since I am a House Next Door board member? Do I need to abstain from the vote as a House Next Door board member? Thank you, sir.
You have no personal interest.
I didn't think so. I have no personal interest, but I want to make sure people out there, since I have no personal gain.
That's the key
in this.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I just wanted to ask so everybody understood that.
I agree.
Okay, Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner McCool?
Yes.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Hersberg?
Yes, motion passes 6-0. Item E, the request for approval of the administrative policy. This is the computer network usage and social media policy. Commissioner McCool, you wanted to pull this one as well, as did I. Want to go ahead?
I did. I have had underlined and highlighted this. I'm sorry. This section, page 8, section E, regarding our social media policy. And I highlighted section E that says your online presence reflects upon the city, if related in any form to the city. Be aware that your actions captured via images, posts, or comments can reflect upon the city. And I get, do not reference or cite city clients, partners, customers without their express consent. In all cases, do not publish any information regarding a city client during the engagement. So I would like to speak directly to E. So E says, my online presence reflects upon the city as it does the employees, as I'm an employee of the city, if related in any form to the city. I would like that verbiage cleared up because be aware that my online actions captured via images, posts, or comments can reflect upon the city. So what I'm trying to understand is if related in any form to the city, could I have that explained? Because I want to make sure that I am able to maintain my personal identity online, meaning that I am still able to be Dana McCool, although I'm Commissioner McCool, sharing viewpoints that don't reflect directly on the city or speak disparagingly of the city. So I would like to hear that specifically, please.
Okay, Robert Cordero, IT Department. We can definitely clarify that. We'd have to work with the city manager on clarifying that particular section since this policy.
Thank you, Robert. The reason, well, let's first of all explain something. You're not dealing with just a social media policy. You're dealing with the entire IT policy and procedure. This was a policy and procedure that was put in place by administrative staff. It was never approved by the commission. So I felt like this needed to come back to commission for approval because according to the charter, you're the policy approving body for the city. We had a recent incident where someone posted online regarding a city employee and their health concerns, absenteeism, whatever. It was very concerning to me. It became apparent that the information came from within City Hall. And technically, under our personnel policies and procedures, there's language in there that if you do anything that is less than ideal for the city, that's actually a violation. So I went ahead, because I wanted to get the point out quickly, had all the employees sign a social media policy that had been previously drafted, but never fully implemented. And so I wanted to put it all together and bring it to the commission for approval. To answer Ms. McCool's question, basically, something that is unfavorable to the city could be information that staff is the only people that know about. It's put out in the public without proper context. And the community could take a negative viewpoint of what was posted of the city. It puts the city in a bad light. They're not authorized to be on social media sharing information with regard to city operations or city policy or what have you. So it's important that any information coming from the city needs to be in the proper context and from the proper people. I cannot tell you how many times I have wanted to respond on Facebook to things that I knew were not true. But because if I had responded, even though I'm under John Peters, or Hokey 7900, I just gave away my name, Hokey 7900, and people knew it was me, it could be viewed unfavorably that I'm criticizing a citizen or calling them a liar or whatever. So anything, really, just about anything in terms of the city, you need to be the proper people authorized to go on social media and give those viewpoints. Personal opinions and everything like that can reflect poorly on the city. We have had people in certain areas of the city that have gone on social media and made comments with regard to the school board's LGBTQ policy. And because if you went to this person's Facebook identity, you would see that they were a city employee. That could be, that's getting in a fine line between First Amendment rights and reflecting on the city. But if your Facebook persona says that you are the city manager or the acting city manager of the city, if I go on Facebook and I take a very strong political stance on something, it could reflect negatively on the city. And so, those are things we need to be aware of. But more importantly, when it deals with the city operation itself, that would be a violation of the policy unless they're authorized to do that. Did I answer your question?
You did.
Madam Mayor? Well, hang on, Commissioner. Commissioner McCool is still responding.
Okay. You did in a roundabout way, okay? And I understand. My question is not that, I would not get on Facebook and say the city sucked, I understand that. I understand what we're trying to do. I understand that I took an oath to protect the Constitution. I understand that I took the responsibility of representing the city in the best light possible, right? If I have policy issue, I usually declare that in the proper setting. However, when I see what I deem are personal attacks, when I see bullying, when I see things that go against the fundamental nature of who I am, my first action is not to respond, but when pressed, will not tolerate bullying, especially if it is, I know it to be untrue. So I am trying to understand how to handle that when untruths are spoken, because the customer's not always right. And in allowing that to happen and going unanswered, I believe that it perpetuates even more negativity. So while trying to be a good steward of the city, but at the same time standing by my personal belief and my personal integrity, when I'm attacked and it's just, rhetoric as usual, I'm fine with taking the road of not speaking. But when it becomes personal, okay, I take issue with that and will not allow that to be done to me. So, or anyone else where I know it to be untrue. So I'm trying to maintain that balance, and that's why I asked, because this talks about using city internet or using a personal computer, personal internet access. So I'm trying to abide by city while also exercising my First Amendment rights when it comes to this stuff. So I will take I usually take the high road, but I just wanted clarity on that because, you know, the days that we live in now.
Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
Thank you, Mayor. So, you know, that topic is so, they go into such a full explanation of that topic when you do the ethics training. And I like to take as much ethics training as I can because I try to understand everything they say. And one of the things that I walked away with in ethics training is that once you are an elected official, there is no personal information, that you have no longer your own personal Facebook account, because everything and anything that you put out there can and will be used against you when they have the opportunity. That was also explained when we had the quasi-judicial hearing, that, you know, we had the representative come and explain to us. I think that was one of the questions that was asked. So unfortunately, that's what elected officials fall under. Everything that you put on Facebook is public record, and it can be used in whichever way the person chooses to wish to use it against you. So I hope that also gives you a little information, but that is in the ethics rules.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I believe we have ethics training coming up shortly, so that will be a good review. My reason for pulling this is to go ahead and ask the acting city manager to have this cover boards as well as the commission. And the reason I say that is in the past we've had board situations go on that also borders on sunshine law violations when people comment on one another's posts. And I'm hoping that we'll have some better training for our boards now to understand that, even though they're told that when they first come on, but you can't be commenting if the first, and actually this just was a discussion I had today with an elected official from another city, not even concerning Deltona, about something that was going to be coming up, and two members of an elected body, one posted, then another one posted on their respective Facebook pages, but you can also start looking at and counting votes when you start talking about the same thing. Who posted first? Who posted second? Like I said, this was nothing concerning this city. It was a conversation completely out of the realm of Deltona. So in having that discussion, I would like to know if we're going to go forward with this, then it also has to cover our boards, in my opinion. I don't know, whatever. I'll defer to you, gentlemen, as a comment if that's the right way or not to go with that.
Just for clarification, you want the entire policy to apply or just the social media part?
I think the social media part.
Okay.
And Mr. Bryan says the whole policy. Then my question for the whole policy is, you have a monitoring system in City Hall that's easier to monitor. How would you go ahead and monitor or have the whole policy apply to boards in the commission? Would that be a lot more difficult to enforce?
Yes, that'd be more difficult to enforce. We can monitor internally. Even on the mobile side, it's more difficult to monitor on that side.
Robert, can you talk into that mic or pull it down a little bit?
It would be more difficult to monitor externally from people's personal computers. We can monitor internally, but not from, even cell phones are very difficult for us to monitor.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I could interject one thing. One way to help the monitoring process is we give all board members and commissioners and all that a city email address for them to conduct city business. Then we would be able to monitor that.
Can you guys be just, because we're having a hard time hearing up here. Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Peters.
What I was saying is I believe Robert could actually give every board member, planning and zoning, whatever, and the commissioners, you already have a city email address. And you would be required to do all city business on the city email address, which you all already do. And then Robert would be able to monitor it at that point because it comes through our server.
Yes, a city email address would definitely allow me to centralize their communications more.
Okay. Okay. Do the board members get a city email address now?
Normally, they don't, no.
They don't? Yeah, I think that's a good idea too. And it keeps things easier, especially when emails go around and so forth. Okay, all right, commissioners, it's the end of my comments on that. So we need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Madam Mayor, I can't find the page, but I make a motion
Okay.
to accept it.
Okay.
Would you like me to read it?
Yeah, I'm going to have the vice mayor. I'm going to have the vice mayor read the motion. Okay, Commissioner Avila Vasquez.
Okay, I found it. I have it. I'm sorry. I had all these papers on top of it. So I move to approve the administrative policy CW19-02, establishment of a computer and network usage and security policy as presented. The acting city manager has the authority to make corrections of grievance, errors, and alike. And the like.
Okay, properly moved by Commissioner Avila Vasquez, seconded by Vice Mayor Bradford. Now, Mr. Cordero, I have a question.
Yes.
As presented, does this include the commission and the boards, or does that need to be added in there? Mr. Peters?
That needs to be added in there, ma'am.
That's what I thought. Commissioner Avila Vasquez, will you, if you so desire, amend your motion to add in the commission and boards?
I move to approve the administrative policy CW19-02, establishment of a computer network usage and security as for commissioners and city boards, advisory boards.
Vice Mayor, are you okay with seconding that amended motion? Second. Okay. Properly moved by Commissioner Avila Vasquez with the amendments and seconded by Vice Mayor Bradford. May we vote, please? Yes. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to run through my brain what she said when it says establishment of computer network usage and security policy as per. And I know she said in security policy for.
As presented for commissioners and city boards.
Well, I'm saying, do we need to specify that it's staff, boards?
As presented, and then I would suggest you say including the commission and city advisory boards.
I mean, because it's automatically for staff.
Is that okay?
Yeah. All right.
Is that clear?
Exactly what the mayor said, Joyce.
And are you good with exactly that? Okay, we're good. That is clear. Joyce, you're good? Do we need the choices like get me done? Okay, may we vote, please?
Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner McCool? Yes. Commissioner Ramos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bradford?
Yes.
Mayor Hersberg?
Yes. Motion passes. And now we will move to City Commission special reports and requests. The Honorable Commissioner Ramos, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to bring a quick report as it relates to our TPO. There's conversation and there's a study that's happening. For those that are not aware, there's a shortage for our truck parking. So there's an I-4 truck and freight parking PD study that's happening. Please understand that that will affect us one way or the other. They haven't set a site yet, but they are looking at this side of town, especially with the closeness to I-4. For those that know about the renovation that happened down the street in the sense of the rest stop, they only have 36 spots there, and that's including both sides. They're looking at a shortage of 750, the demand of parking for these truckers. The challenge is that a lot of times there is no private place for them to park, and they are coming in through the different cities wherever they can find a place. If you drive by, you can see sometimes off of 415 to Walmart, they're parked there. So it's become a challenge. But please, I just want to bring that up to date, that as it relates to parking for trucks, there's a study being done, and we will be affected somehow or another. The bright side, if anything, this can be part of a conversation that might be able to help us with the opening, or better yet, the intersection of Rhode Island. That could be a possibility of us having an exit there.
Okay.
So there is no stand yet on how the county or the different cities are, but just wanted to bring that update to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner McCool.
Special request, littering. That will be my war cry. And I am really adamant about us doing that with new people coming to Deltona. There's been county-wide discussion about littering. There's been over in like Ormond, I mean, it's all over social media. We don't know what's going on with the whole climate of people, thinking it's okay to throw stuff out. Our DBI Services is doing a fantastic job of keeping the litter up and going up and down the highway. So my request is finding out what we need to do to get a contractor, my Lord, for once and for all, or city staff this has to be someone's mission to have this picked up and to do outreach for maybe civic clubs to do it also. And a nonprofit, we need a nonprofit to step up according to the county, and we could get people over here to pick up litter as part of community service. So I would like for us to tackle those points, whoever does that. But littering, it's just, littering and no parking where there should not be parking on busy streets, on Providence Boulevard. So I would like that addressed also. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question, ma'am. Littering, are you talking citywide, or are you talking the interchanges?
Yes.
All of it?
Yes.
Mr. Acting City Manager, several years ago, former Vice Mayor Denizak instituted a littering campaign. And we had, I really apologize, Zenaida, if you're listening, what you had, the name of what it was. And we had things around the city with signs and all that. Would you be able to see what we did with that? It was a good start, and it was a catchy slogan. There was one on Elkham. Yeah. Can we just...
We will take a look at it.
Just look at the historical thing, and if we still have, whoopsie, any of that stuff, okay?
I suggest that you place across the city signs that say, every time you litter, a unicorn dies. So
feel free to design that sign. Okay, Commissioner McCool, are you still lit up, or are you good over there? Okay, is anyone else special requests and reports? Yes, ma'am.
Actually, I'll bring it up in comments because it's not a special request. I don't know if it is, but I'm seeing an influx of food trucks, a lot more. And I know we have passed an ordinance on this, but it seems that they're not being enforced. They're getting to a point where I'm seeing them out with flags. I saw some out with a whole group of kids down howling, cheering, and it's going to cause an accident. So I know we have an ordinance in place, and I'm not quite sure why they're not being enforced. So I guess that might be a question for enforcement services. I know people are like, oh, I love that food truck. But unfortunately, we already passed this ordinance, and if we're going to allow it, then we need to amend it. So we're either going to have it or we're not.
Yes, ma'am. I can give you examples of successes that we have had with getting food trucks to move on. In a couple of cases, they've moved to other locations, so we're trying to work through that. Mr. Paradise and I are working on a modified ordinance based a lot on what the city of Orlando has. It's a very comprehensive policy, but it's actually much easier to enforce than what we have currently. And so we will be putting something together and bringing that to the commission. You know, as I have talked to, I think just about every one of you all about the idea of doing a food truck bazaar. And in fact, we're going to try the first one on the Saturday event, strategic planning here. We will have food trucks come toward the end of the strategic planning process so that the people can go out in the courtyard out here, indulge in some of the food, and sit around and talk some more about what we talked about in here. Hopefully it will be successful and it can be a model for the future in terms of how we handle food trucks. A number of cities set aside one night a week for the food trucks to go to a specific location. You know, right now, one of the problems we're having is they're allowed to be at churches. And I personally believe some of them are abusing that privilege, literally being there from 9 in the morning until well past dark. And that presents one of the problems. The other thing is, with the food trucks, we typically have to go after the property owner, not the food truck, because they're on somebody's private property. And so, but you know, let me assure you that we have had successes in regard to some of the food trucks. I can give you one example. Is over on Normandy and Providence. We had a truck that is there literally every day, and I have not seen it in quite some time. Unfortunately, right down the street at a church, I can almost guarantee you there's going to be a purple food truck every afternoon. And so, you know, we need a comprehensive approach to deal with it in a new ordinance. Like I said, Mr. Paradise and I have been looking at the City of Orlando ordinance as a model to go forward with.
Commissioner Ramos.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to add, and I had that as part of my comments. Just this weekend, I had a conversation with a couple of food trucks. The word in town is we're open for food trucks. Pretty much everybody and their mother knows that they can come in and put a food truck, no questions asked. So I did say to a couple of the owners that we are working on something, so it's good to know that there's something going on, because absolutely everywhere you turn there's a food truck. And it's not to say we don't want them, but they need to be regulated at some point in time. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.
Okay. Now we'll go to city attorney comments. Mr. Fowler, any comments?
No, ma'am, nothing tonight.
City manager, comments?
Nothing this evening, ma'am.
City commission, who wants to start today? King? Commissioner, Honorable Commissioner King.
Two things I want to mention. One, the furthest away is April 14th. I'll be hosting a code enforcement community meeting at Harris M. Saxon Community Center, 7 p.m. That's at 2329 California Street. So those are my district, and outside the district, if you haven't made one already and you want to come to Harris Saxon Community Center, we'll be there at 7 p.m. on the 14th of April. A little closer, this weekend on Friday, the American Legion will be hosting its Law and Order Awards ceremony and luncheon at the Fellowship Hall, Deltona Lakes Baptist Church, 2886 El Cam Boulevard. That is open to the public if you wanted to come out. It's a $10 charge for the meal, which is being catered by Texas Roadhouse. We'll be honoring our Law Enforcement Officer of the Year, our Firefighter of the Year, and our EMT of the Year. So those are the things that are happening for me.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner McCool?
Yes, I would just like to remind everyone that next Tuesday night at 7 p.m., I will be having my April District 4 Town Hall via Zoom. We will be having the Zoom meeting over the next 3 months via Zoom, and hopefully as everyone becomes vaccinated, we can move it to a live setting. Commissioner, can I see your? I will also be having, I'm sorry, I have it written in my other book. I will also be having on April 22nd the code enforcement community meeting for my district, District 4, at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. So make note. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Ramos?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a few things. On this Sunday, April 11th, over at the center, we have a group of, I call them kids, but they're kids, young men and adults, and women as well, that they're having a jazz festival. It starts at 6:30. Prices are very reasonable, anything like from free to $5. They'll be selling tickets at the door there at the center at 6:30. It's a great opportunity just to listen to some jazz. I had an opportunity to go and see one of their rehearsals. And again, it's made up of students from high school, college, and adults that just enjoy music, so it's a great opportunity. Also, Lori, the Family Health Source CEO, reached out to me in reference with everything that's happening in vaccination. I understand we've done vaccines over at Dewey, as well as the center continues to have them. We have them at the fairgrounds. But what Family Health Source has provided is an opportunity to no appointment allowed. So in speaking to our city manager, we decided to, for next Tuesday, and that's April the 13th, from 9 until they're done, until they run out, for vaccination over at West Crowell. Anyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome. There's no appointment needed. All you have to do is show up and you'll be vaccinated. So I definitely want to say thank you to Family Health Source for that opportunity. And again, that's going to be this Tuesday, April the 13th. If you have not been vaccinated and you want to be vaccinated, we'll probably have both vaccinations. That's my understanding. So you'll probably get the 1 shot or the 2 shot. And again, that's free of no charge. The other thing is, glad to see that Jason was here earlier in public comments in reference to our Deltona soccer. They're having their award ceremony on the 14th at 7 p.m. So those of us that have an opportunity, I think it's a good time to go out there and show support. I've been out there a couple of times. There's a lot of kids and family out there, and I think we just need to keep that communication open. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Avila Vasquez?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I have 2 things. On Saturday, April 17th, the Masons on the Landmark Lodge 383, they're located on Apache Road in Normandy. They're having their cornhole tournament at the center in Deltona. And they're looking for players to join the tournament. So if you want more information, I thought I had their phone number, but I don't. So you can stop at the lodge. They're on the corner of Apache and Normandy across from Walgreens and get information if you want to participate in the tournament. Also for District 3, the code enforcement seminar that's taking place, it's going to be held Thursday, April 15th at 7 o'clock at the Commissioner's Chamber right there at Providence. So, and everybody hope everybody had a wonderful holiday and stay safe.
Thank you, ma'am. Vice Mayor Bradford?
Actually, Thursday night, this Thursday, 7 p.m. at the center, we are having the Town Hall Code Enforcement, District 2. Anybody else is welcome. So, you guys just got all the dates. If you're not able to attend their code enforcement and you want to attend, any other district, you're welcome to. You don't have to just stick with your commission. But District 2, we are having it this Thursday, 7 p.m. at the center. I do ask that everybody wear face masks, and we are going to be practicing social distancing as well. I would love for everybody to come out, bring your ideas, bring your suggestions. This is a great opportunity. Now is your time to speak. So I hope to see as many of you can this Thursday, 7 p.m. at the center. Did I say it enough? Mm-hmm. Thursday, 7 p.m. at the center.
Thank you, ma'am. And I just, I'm going to save mine until the end in terms of, mine won't be till May, so we're not even going to worry about talking about that right now. Also, Commissioner King, did you want to say something yet before I finish up? No? Okay, sorry, lit up. You're good?
I wasn't sure that I gave a time for the law and order. That is at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
It's 11 to 1 for the law and order ceremony, award ceremony.
11 to 1.
And while I have the floor, let me just add one more thing. For all of our veterans out there, and also for anybody that is interested, the following weekend, weekend of the 15th through the 18th, is the Vietnam Veterans and annual all veterans, Florida veterans reunion. That's held at Wickham Park in Melbourne every year. It's an all-weekend event. The Vietnam Traveling Wall will be there. There'll be many vendors, and they put up a traveling museum. It's really a nice event. So for all of our veterans that might be interested, Wickham Park in Melbourne, the weekend of the 15th through the 18th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. And I just wanted to remind our residents that we have the upcoming strategic planning forums. They are all listed on our website. If you're interested in coming to any of those, as the code enforcement town halls, and all the other good stuff we have going in the city of Deltona. Stay safe, stay healthy. We will see you in 2 weeks. We are adjourned.